K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Welcome everybody to On Deck here on Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I'm Crispy Bacon here with Big Dog Greg. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, Crispy?
Doing good. Big B won't be on today due to family commitment, and we're hoping to have Tim on here in just a few minutes. So, how are your Cardinals doing?
Man, last 10 we're 2-8, 16 games under 500, 8.5 behind the Brewers right now. In the division, it's just not looking good. 27-43. We just made a trade with the Guardians to pick up a prospect. He's 26 years old, Richie Palacios. Hopefully maybe he can finally make it to the majors and do a little damage for us. Other than that, not much is going on. The arms just aren't doing what they're supposed to. Montgomery's struggling. Wainwright's kind of wearing down. We need some new arms. So not looking good.
Yeah. Isn't it close to the start of the All-Star break?
Yeah, it's getting pretty close. So we're almost to the halfway point, and the season's moving along pretty fast. But yeah, I just don't know what kind of moves we're gonna make. I don't know. We might be sellers at this point. It's just not looking good. We're already 10.5 games out of the wild card, so we got to do something soon.
Yeah, it's getting down to it. Rangers have been looking good so far, but I don't know. It hasn't been looking too well the last few weeks, but that I think the Angel series was pretty rough.
Yeah, the series was pretty rough. Yeah, they weren't able to do too much against the Angels pitching. So, and now they got a pretty tough matchup today, I think, against the Blue Jays. So,
yeah, some of the games that are going to be on today, at least this afternoon, shortly after we get done here, the Tigers and the Twins are going to start things off today. I'm sure big game for the Twins today. With the it's kind of a division series, I believe. You think the Twins can pull it off today?
Yeah, I do. I think that they have a pretty good bullpen. I think that they have a pretty good lineup. So it wouldn't surprise me actually if the Twins go out and win by at least 2 today. So I think they'll be able to get to wins. So
you also have Orioles and the Cubs. We talked about a little bit earlier. Blue Jays and the Rangers. Blue Jays started off really strong. They haven't been doing all that well.
The Blue Jays haven't even named their pitcher yet, but
yeah, I'm looking at it.
They have been hitting really well as of late. So I don't know. I think the Blue Jays might have the edge there right now because I think that they get to. I think that they're swinging the bat pretty good. It's just their pitching has been letting them down.
Let's see, Phillies and the A's. The A's have been kind of on a winning streak, I guess. They're 19-53. I'm not saying they're gonna do anything special, but they've been on a little winning streak.
Yeah, they're getting a little bit more fan involvement because the fans are very adamant about not wanting to leave Oakland. They're putting a lot of pressure on their owner to sell the team. They don't want to relocate to, the fan base doesn't want them to relocate to Las Vegas. And I understand that. There's been more fans showing up. The A's have some talent. JP Sears has been pitching lights out the last month of the season or so. He's been getting a lot of strikeouts, been getting a lot of ground outs. He's been going deep into the games. You got Lariano, who still hammers the ball. You have Kemp, who gets on base and gets a lot of stolen bases and plays decent defense. So it's not like they're going out there without anything. They do have some pretty good talent, and they've been finding some pretty good matchups lately. Especially, I'm glad he's not on here because that's who they just swept a few days ago was the Brewers. So
Yeah. Let's see. I think I saw a minute ago. Yeah. Your Cardinals are going up against the Mets later on. How do you think that matchup's going to go?
I think we're due for a win, but I don't know if it's going to be today because they're throwing out Senga, we're throwing out Wainwright. I give the edge to the Mets, but something's got to give. I mean, we're 2-8 over our last 10. The Mets aren't exactly lighting the world on fire. They're under 500, but I think they're only a game or two under 500, and they're playing in New York. Sadly, I probably give the edge to the Mets because I think the Senga is the better option. But I'm really hoping that our bats can start just making really good contact. We're just a team that's not making great contact. We got Goldschmidt, we got Arenado. Arenado still doesn't look like he's really comfortable up at the plate. Goldschmidt's been fairly consistent, but it's just been one of those things. I think the change in leadership, not to take anything away from Contreras, but when you got Yadi Molina, who is basically a manager out on the field, and now he's gone, that takes a lot away from the team chemistry and everything. And I love Contreras as a player, but he just doesn't have what Yadi brought to the table as far as a leadership standpoint and calling pitches standpoint. So, and now we have a new young manager when we didn't have a bad young manager in the first place, so there's been a lot of turnover, but I don't want to sit here and make excuses. I think that we definitely have the talent to be a competitive team. We just need to find some consistency, find a lineup that works, and maybe make a move to get a few young arms.
Hopefully they can pull it off. You also got the Pirates and the Brewers later on today. Both pitchers have been named. I think it's Keller versus Miley.
Yeah, I think for a big time bounce back. I think he got shelled a week or two ago, and I think that he's gonna end up racking up a lot of strikeouts today.
White Sox and Mariners. What do you think of that game?
Well, I think that they should have scored a couple more runs yesterday, and I would have hit a really good parlay. But I think that when you're throwing out Gilbert and Giolito, that's kind of a toss-up. But I think that Seattle got the best of Chicago yesterday, so I think that the White Sox will probably get the best of the Mariners today. I think that Giolito, he's kind of getting a little bit of a resurgence, so I think that he'll do just enough to get the White Sox a win today.
Is there any other games you're looking forward to besides, your Cardinals playing?
Well, and one team that I've never been a big fan of, but a team that's really surprised me right now is the Diamondbacks. It's nice to see the Diamondbacks playing some good ball again. You know, they don't make like a lot of hard contact, but they put the ball in play. They got some scrappy, hungry guys. They got a couple really good young pitchers. And then they got Zach Gallen out there wheeling and dealing. And so anytime that the Diamondbacks are playing, you know, they're definitely not a favorite team of mine or anything, but I like to see what they can do because they're a young team that didn't have a lot of expectations. And also I like to kind of follow teams in my division. So the Cincinnati Reds, I like to follow what they're doing because they've got a couple hot prospects. They got a great pitching prospect, and then they just have a new prospect that they brought up that's really lighting the world on fire. So they've been playing competitive, and I think that they're going to give the Astros all they can handle today.
Hopefully the Astros will lose that game. It'll really help the Rangers in that, but
well, I think that there's a pretty good shot at it. So
yeah.
Green's pitching really well, and the Reds are just one of those teams. They've been in almost every single game. Not a lot of expectations. They were expected to be bottom dwellers, but you know they're right there every single game. They're a fun team to watch.
And looking at the standings here, your division leaders in the AL East, Tampa Bay, Central is Minnesota, and then the AL West is the Rangers, which ain't too bad. Any surprises there so far?
You know, a little bit of a surprise is that the Astros aren't quite at the top. You know, the defending champs and everything, but I think that they'll eventually get there. I'm not really surprised with how the Central's playing out because I mean, if my Cardinals were in the Central, we'd still have a shot because you know there's a lot of 500 or sub 500 teams in there. But yeah, the Twins definitely have the strongest lineup in the Central. That makes the most sense. They have some really good pitching and a really good bullpen. The Rays is kind of shocking to me. I know that they have a couple outstanding pitchers and they have a pretty decent lineup, but I don't think that they had the most talented lineup in that division. But they're playing the best baseball in all of baseball right now.
And then you have your wild card teams are going to be Baltimore, Houston, and the Yankees. Kind of surprised about Baltimore because I think a lot of us wrote them off last year, maybe this year. I can't remember.
The thing about Baltimore is last year they really hit the ball hard, and this year they're hitting the ball even harder. And you have Adley Rutschman, who's going to be basically your cornerstone player for many years to come. He's in his second year. He came on and really tore it up in his rookie season last year around the midway point. And then you got Santalamakia, who absolutely crushes the ball, or Settlemender pounds the ball. And then you've got Gibson on the bump. He gives you some good innings. You got Brandish, who has some lights out stuff. He has a really good breaking ball. So their lineup, their young lineup, and they're reaping the rewards off of the Manny Machado deal for sure.
And then in the NL, your division leaders are your Atlanta Braves in the East. Your West is Arizona Diamondbacks. And in the Central, you got Milwaukee. Any surprises in that group?
Yeah, the biggest surprise is the Diamondbacks because I figured out that division it would be the Dodgers. Even though the Dodgers lost a little bit this last season, they're still playing pretty good ball, but I love to see some new blood in that division because I thought that it was going to be the Dodgers, the Padres, And then the Diamondbacks probably, but it's really really nice to see a young, hungry team. Not a ton of like high profile, high contract players, but they come out every day and they make contact. They don't make hard contact, but they do what they can. They have excellent pitching to get them through long stretches, so they don't really have to rely on their bullpen a whole lot.
And then you have in the wild card spots the Dodgers, Marlins, and the Giants. Prices there.
I'm a little surprised with the Giants still being in the mix because they've lost so much since their heyday. Since they won those 3 World Series in about a 6 or 7 year span. But I'm not really surprised. I think that the Marlins would be pulling away in the wild card race if they could just get Sandy Alcantara back on track. I don't know if it's the pitch clock. I don't know what's going on, but he just seems to be a shell of himself since last year. Last year, he was getting tons of Ks. His ERA was low. He was a Cy Young candidate. He was absolutely tearing it up. And this year, he's just, he looks about as human as he can be out there. Last year, he was pretty unhittable. And now this year, it seems like he's given up at least 4 runs every game.
And is there anybody that's currently not in the playoffs? Would you like to see maybe make a playoff push if they can, or you don't see anybody catching up to any of the playoff teams?
Well, I'd love to see my Cardinals put together put together something. I'd love for them to get a couple new arms or get something injected into their lineup to make a push. But as far as teams that I'd really love to see make a run, I'd love to see the Reds make a run. They just got Andrew Abbott, hot rookie, a pitcher. He's pitched a ton of scoreless innings in his first 3 starts. That's one team. I would love to see the Angels make a run. I think that with Ohtani and Trout and Rendon, I think that their ownership and everything owes it to those guys to try to make a push. Try to get somebody to put them over the top. I think that right now the biggest thing that they need as well is pitching. They do have pretty good depth in their lineup, but maybe another bat and another pitcher, and it'd be nice to see the Angels kind of make a run and give the Rangers and the Astros a run for their money. So those 2 teams right there, I'd love to see them make a push.
I'd like to see if it's not the Rangers, the Angels in it. I mean, Ohtani's a great player, and he's going to be on the trade deadline soon. Reports are, and I think it'd be cool to see him get a World Series, title, or at least get to that point.
Yeah, I think that Anaheim's, or I think that the Angels' best bet to be able to keep Ohtani is to make a run to the playoffs. If they don't really do that, I think that he's going to be willing to take the highest bidder and try to start over somewhere else.
Yeah, I think that'd be the best bet for him too. As for some other headlines around, baseball, Ronald Acuna Jr. becomes the quickest to 15 home runs, 30 steals. The Brave star reached the milestone this past week. What do you think of that?
I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
That Ronald Acuna became the quickest to 15 home runs and 30 steals.
Oh,
that correctly.
I think that with Acuna, if with him being back to full strength, we may see another 40-40. which would be nice. We haven't had a 40-40 player in quite some time. And especially the injury that he had right before the World Series, and he wasn't able to play in the World Series. A couple seasons ago, that was really tough because he's definitely the star of the show over there in Atlanta. And so when he had that injury, for him to come back, and he's coming back with vengeance, that's awesome to see.
Yeah, it is. It's good to see him get this big accomplishment. Lost where I was for a second. Where is it? Had it. And yet, any headlines for you? Well, here we go. Boston Red Sox Garrett Whitlock placed on injured list with a right hand, or not right hand. He is right-handed, but he's placed on the injured list. You think that's a big hit for him?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a, not a huge hit, but a decent sized hit. I mean, anytime you're taking somebody out of the lineup or a rotation spot, that's going to be a little bit of a hit. But I think they'll be okay.
He's going to be on the IL for at least 15 days with a right hip injury. He has a 0.89 WHIP in 17 appearances. He also has a 1.45 ERA, 1.45 ERA. So I guess that's not too bad. It's only 15 days, but anything can happen within those 15-day window.
Yeah, 15 days. That's still a good 10 games. From a pitcher standpoint, that's a couple starts. So,
I don't know if this is. I mean, it is kind of true, but are the Yankees playing a doubleheader today? I did not see that.
I don't think so.
Because they were saying their game yesterday against Houston was postponed due to that smoke.
I didn't see a doubleheader today, though.
I didn't either when I was looking, double checking that, but I know they've been having environmental issues. Yeah, there's no doubleheader. Environmental issues the last few days due to the fires in Canada, but I don't see anything that resulted in a doubleheader. I think that's it on the headlines. Anything else you got as far as baseball-related headlines?
The only thing I have is I've been tuning into the College World Series. There's been some really good games so far. Oral Roberts seems to be the comeback kids. They've been playing some really good ball, and they seem to play their best ball from behind. So, if you think about laying some money down on a college game, maybe put a little bit on Oral Roberts because they seem to be a team destined for success this year.
It seems like it. They defeated TCU yesterday seemed like a close game from what I saw.
It was a close game, and they had to perform yet another comeback. I got lucky yesterday because I had Oral Roberts winning, and I had the over 10 in the Florida Virginia game, and it was 1-0 in the fifth inning, and then it ended up being 6-5. So talk about a lucky break.
Yeah, that does help.
Yeah.
Have they started online for the MLB online voting for the All-Star game?
I haven't seen anything yet on the MLB website, but should be coming soon.
I'm sure it will be because that's going to be that's always been a big event. I think.
Oh yeah, should be a really competitive game this year.
It's in Seattle, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Since their playoff run last year, that should be a big spot for them.
oh yeah.
Anything else you got? I think this might be running a little bit short.
Yeah, I don't really have anything. It's hard to kind of hard to run a show with just two guys.
Right. So thanks everybody for watching, tuning in. Thank you for hopping on, Greg.
Yeah, and go Eagles, go Oral Roberts.
Yeah. Hopefully they pull off a victory. I'm kind of rooting for TCU being in Texas, but I like an underdog story, and hopefully they can pull off a victory. It's a 2-game series, pretty much. So
Yeah, I don't know if Oral Roberts will win it. I mean, you can't keep. I don't know how many times you can come from behind and win, and expect to win a championship. But so far they're doing it. But at some point they're going to have to get out early and keep the lead.
right. So with that, hope everybody has a great day of baseball. A lot of games on today. We'll be back next week with another edition of On Deck with everybody here. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you guys next week.